the guttering pipe here is open, and it's open at the other end as well. So rather than water running through the connector into the cistern, any water that is collected in that pipe simply runs out on the ground. And so is not a particularly effective rainwater harvest system at the moment. But we're hoping to change that. This is the sanitation facilities. Obviously very different than what you guys are probably accustomed to at your school. It's basically 6 pit latrines side by side. And I got an up close image of what it looks like inside. No toilet seat, just the bare concrete, and a lot of trash and such that's gathered on the floor there. You can imagine kind of what that smells like as well. The school's pit latrines are not ventilated other than the windows up top, but it's not actually a ventilated pit latrine at the school. And I can show you later on kind of what the difference is. But you'll notice there aren't any pipes coming out above the latrine here. And one that you'll see later on, you can kind of contrast the design. After the visit at the national school, we visited another school in the community. This is the Baptist school. And I wanted to show you these pictures because I want you to get a sense of the disparity even within the community of Plaine de l'Aube. So the Baptist school just has a lot more resources at its disposal for the students' education. And you can see how the students who attend the Baptist school have a bigger head start in general than the students who attend the national school or some of the other schools in the community. So one thing that I noticed, and I'll show you some pictures later of kind of the garbage issue in Haiti, is that there is no garbage at all on the ground at the Baptist school. And they do have trash cans scattered throughout the school grounds, which is actually relatively uncommon. And I asked the school director here about what they do with the garbage, and he said that you know, they're trying to instill a sense of pride in the school grounds and kind of culturally get students accustomed to disposing of their waste properly. But because there is no such thing as waste collection, there are no garbage trucks that come by and pick up trash like you would think of here. There's no landfill like you would think of here. Their method of disposing the trash once they've collected it is simply to take it a little ways off the school grounds and burn it, which is still detrimental to the environment and to human health in the area. So it's maybe, you know, questionably better than simply throwing trash on the ground, but only a little bit better. And so waste disposal, recycling, reuse of resources are all things that I'd love for you guys to think about as you pursue projects there at school, and how you might be able to incorporate waste into some of your projects. So this is what I was saying in terms of kind of the head start that students at the Baptist school get. They actually have a library and computer lab available to them. Their grades are on a rotation so that each grade level gets access to the library at least once a week. The back wall, and kind of it would be off to the left from this picture angle, are bookshelves that have books for a variety of topics. Students can come in and sit here and use them, or check them out and take them home. And then they do have the bank of computers there along the back wall. And the computers are connected to internet via satellite. So they do have limited internet access. And they've got 2 solar panels to provide the electricity to run the computer lab. So those solar panels are connected to a bank of batteries, and they are able to produce enough electricity with just those 2 solar panels to run those half dozen or so computers that they have available. Just another image. This is a building that the Baptist school started, but they're running a little low on funds. One of the things that all 3 of the school directors I met with expressed to me was the desire to be able to provide school lunches for their students. And I can't really stress how important that is. You know how hard it is to concentrate in school when you're hungry, when you're not getting enough to eat, your stomach's growling, and the students at these schools don't get lunch during the day. If they do, they have to leave school, go home, eat, and come back, and so potentially miss out on part of the lessons. And so all 3 school directors would love to be able to provide school lunch, even if it was just basic rice and beans. And the building here is intended to be a cafeteria, as well as the other half of the building would be a vocational training workshop for the older students and other community members. But the school is running low on funding and hasn't been able to complete the building. So another big need that was expressed to me during this visit was to be able to complete that and have a functioning kitchen there on the site. And then these pictures were taken at the 3rd school. This is the Adventist school, and we hosted a community gathering with parents of students that attend the school, and then any general members of the community that wanted to come and share. We really wanted to be sure that we got a lot of different perspectives. And so these 2 individuals each brought a unique perspective. The gentleman in the back is the head of the community's Agriculture and Fisheries Association. And so he brought a lot of insight about irrigation, crop health, fisheries management that maybe other members of the community weren't able to share. And then the lady there in the foreground is the head of the Women's Association, and she shared their interest in reestablishing a community market in Plaine de l'Aube. And kind of the big issue with being able to do that is, one is finances and just having the capital up front to be able to purchase goods to sell at a marketplace. And the other is access. And I'll show you some photos here in a minute of the roads in the area. And simply getting to the nearest big city to buy wholesale goods to bring back and sell at market is incredibly challenging. And so you know, being able to get those perspectives and hear those voices was really important, and we'll take those into consideration over the long run. The number one thing that everybody I talked to expressed as an issue was water, and this image is a group of ladies collecting water at one of the central taps in the community. Most homes don't have running water, don't have a well of their own. Several homes do have rainwater harvest and large cisterns that they can use for water on a day-to-day basis, but a lot of the households are relying on these central taps to collect water and take back to their homes on a daily basis. And just wanted to give you some general ideas what the community looks like, what construction styles are common. Most of the construction is cinder block, cement, and tin or metal roofing, some thatched roof. So this is actually where we stayed. This is Franklin Mateer's family home. And each of these, this is a doorway to a bedroom. Back here, you can see a doorway to a bedroom. And actually, you can't really tell in this image, but we had beds out under the veranda here. And Franklin and his brother and all of the folks that live and work here actually slept outside, and only a handful of people sleep inside in the bedrooms. Sorry, I just lost my picture. So I can give you kind of a close-up of what one of the bedrooms looks like. This is Milo's bedroom, Franklin's uncle. And then inside, just basic beds, mosquito netting, and not a whole lot else. So not a house like you would think of where you walk in the front door and you go through maybe a living room and a kitchen and there's a hallway to multiple bedrooms. Each room is kind of just a standalone bedroom. This is the bathroom at the house, and the left side is the pit latrine. Here you can see that it is ventilated, so this pipe extends down into the pit itself and allows the gases to travel up through the pipe and be vented above the latrine. So it greatly minimizes the smell, attracts a lot less flies and other pests that way. And then on the right-hand side is the shower. And this tank can be filled with water for an overhead shower, although we mostly relied on bucket baths. So you get a bucket of hot water and a bucket of cold water and mix the two to get just the right temperature and use like a hand pitcher. And that's kind of the common showering method. This is inside the pit latrine, so you can get a sense of it is a little bit nicer than what we saw at the school. You do have a toilet seat and not as much trash and such strewn about. This is actually the door lock. So the door over the or in front of the latrine, unless you get it seated just right, you have a hard time keeping it closed on its own. And so the rope is there so that if need be, you can pull the door shut and keep it shut. But that means that one hand is pretty well occupied the whole time you're in there. So again, just kind of thinking about how privileged we are here to have indoor plumbing, running water, door locks, all of that, things to keep in mind. And then the last thing I wanted to show you about just day-to-day life is cooking. So this is the kitchen there at the Mateer family's home. Again, not attached to the house. It's its own standalone building, and very small. All of the cooking is done over a charcoal fire. So they've just got, a makeshift grill basically, and there's a little bed of charcoal under each of these pots. I think I've got one closer image I can show you.